and welcome to April's Fusion and Union of Yoga. And this is the mindful movement, so nice and slow, easy practice. Just really connecting with our physical, our energetic, our mental body, our wisdom and discernment, and our blissful body throughout the whole practice. So we're also going to be working on thinking about chakras, thinking about our breath and how we can make ourselves move into different places in our range of movement by using that breath to get there. So starting in child's pose, widen the legs as wide as possible, bringing the big toes together. Bring your seat back towards your feet first before you start to then walk the hands forward. Slowly bringing those hands to the front of the mat, the chest down towards the floor, and then if it touches, maybe the forehead onto the mat. Take a moment in child's pose just to connect with that physical body, taking a scan from the fingertips to the toe tips, checking on any tension spots, any injuries, being aware of them and mindful of them as we move through this practice. Try and relax through the shoulders, try and relax through the hips, encouraging the sit back towards the feet as much as possible, but it doesn't have to reach, just an intention to get there. When you've taken that physical body scan, start to bring yourself into that energetic body, the breath. Taking a nice couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, first of all. Expanding in the belly, the rib cage, expanding the chest and the space at the back of the body on the inhale. And then as you exhale, let everything contract, squeeze that air back out of those lungs. Just taking another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Before then, you possibly start to connect with that Ujjayi breath with the slight restriction at the back of the throat, just using the nose to breathe in and out of, unless you need to use the mouth if you're holding any colds or allergies. Trying to let go of any thoughts of what you've done before joining the mat and what you need to do when you leave the mat, just bringing yourself present for the next 45 minutes of practice. And if those thoughts come into your head, just take notice of them. Try not to judge them. And then just let them pass by bringing the focus back to your breathing pattern. So rooting into the hands, lift up the palms, push into the fingertips, just lifting those palms away slightly, taking the arms into a little more flexion, thinking about those shoulders and how they feel as you lift the palms away. And then let those palms flatten, push into the hands and start to lift yourself up into a tabletop position. Shoulders over the heel of the hands, knees underneath the hips. Just take a rock of those hips from side to side after leaving child's pose. Sometimes child's pose is a little challenging when you first go into it. It gets easier as we move through the practice. So bring your weight into your left knee and point your right toes behind you, lifting the leg up as high as you can by squeezing the bum to lift that leg high. Maybe taking a little arch into the back. Then on your out breath, bend the elbows, let the chest come to the floor, chin to the floor. Push into those hands, lift the chest back up, bring that right knee back down. Put your weight this time into your right knee, point the left toes back. Lift that left leg as high as you can by squeezing the glutes. And then start to bend from the elbows, bringing them towards the rib cage, forehead towards the floor, and then push back up and bring that left knee back to meet the right. Take a little rock of the hips from side to side. We're going to do that again on both sides, but we'll transition to down dog in between both. So weight comes into the left knee, tuck your left toes under this time. Point your right toes back, lift the leg as high as you can. Turn the creases of the elbows forward as you bend down with the body and then push into the hands. This time push into the toes of the left foot as you lift the left knee away taking it into that three-legged down dog just for a breath. And then bring that left knee back down, keep the toes tucked, let the chest come down to the floor and push into those hands again, lift that chest. Bring your right knee back to meet the left, take a little rock of the hips. Taking that same movement on the other side, toes of the right foot tuck under. Point the left toes back, lift that left leg as high as you can. Bend into the elbows, bring the chest down to the floor, let the nose touch. Push into the hands, then push into that right foot to lift that right knee away from the mat, coming into that three-leg down dog. Then bring that right knee back to the floor, keep the toes tucked under, bend into the elbows, let the chest come down. Push into those hands, bring that left knee back to meet the right. Untuck both toes and let those hips rock from side to side. Then widen the knees as wide as the mat, bring the big toes together and find yourself back in child's pose. And just see whether you notice those hips coming a little lower, those sit bones closer towards the heels. Maybe the arms can lengthen a little more to the front of the mat. Maybe the forehead comes a little lower and touches the mat if it didn't in the first child's pose. Feeling that stretch along the rib cage into the waist. And just use that out breath to maybe deepen that pose a little more. Then this time thread your left hand underneath your right armpit, turn the left palm up, bring the chest back over that left shoulder, bring the forehead back to the mat and stretch along that deltoid muscle of the shoulder on the left side. Then bring that right hand behind you, place the back of the hand onto the lower back and then push into that left forearm to twist the body, turn the gaze to the right. Lift the right shoulder up as high as you can. Breathing easy into these spaces, getting a little rotation of the waist, but the pelvis stays nice and neutral. Then let that chest come back down to point to the mat. Reach the right hand back out to the front, left hand back to meet the right, and let the chest sink back towards the mat. Then thread that right hand underneath the left armpit, right palm faces up, let the chest sink back over that right shoulder, stretching down that deltoid muscle on the right side. Just hold it here for a couple of breaths. And then bringing that left hand around the back, placing the back of the hand onto the lower part of the spine, the sacrum, then push into that right forearm. Turn and twist the gaze to the left, rotation through the waist, lifting as much as you can up with that left shoulder, holding it here for a breath. Then release that left shoulder back down, come back onto the forehead, chest pointing to the mat, then reach back out with that left hand, reach back out with that right hand, just let the chest sink to the inner thighs. Next breath in, bring yourself back up onto all fours, shoulders over the heel of the hands, knees underneath the hips, tops of the feet flat. Weight into your left knee, point your right toes back, lift that leg up as high as you can, and then start to bend the elbows as you release that chest down towards the floor, working some strength into the shoulders. Push into those hands, come back up, right knee back to meet the left. Same on the left side, weight comes into your right knee, lift the left leg up, point the toes back, turn the creases of the elbows as you lower the chest towards the floor. Have a breath there, then push into those hands, lift back up with the chest, left knee back to meet the right, and just take a rock of the hips from side to side. So we're going to do the same as what we did last time, where we're going to take it into our three-leg down dog. So your weight comes into your left knee, tuck the left toes under, point your right toes back, lift the leg as high as you can, bend into the elbows, bring the nose to the mat, push into the hands, lift the chest away from the floor, push into the left toes, lift that left knee, finding that three-leg down dog. Then bring that left knee back down to the mat, bring your right knee to join, the left, tuck the toes of the right foot under, point the left toes out, bend into the elbows and lower. Push into those hands and lift. Lift the right knee, push into the right toes, find that down dog space. Then bring your right knee back to the floor. Left knee to join. Take a rock of the hips from side to side. This time staying in our all four position. We're going to take some rotation of the waist by threading the needle. Weight comes into the left hand. Right hand lifts up and out to the side. And then thread that right hand in between the left hand, left knee, bringing the right ear to the mat. And then push into that right forearm, so we're supporting the neck. Bring your left hand onto the lower back and rotate a little more with those hips a little higher than where we took it before when we was in child's pose. Maybe you want to raise that hand up to the ceiling. Maybe you want to reach that left hand forward just to touch the mat at the front. Then raise that hand back up to the ceiling. Bring that hand back to the lower back. Bring the left hand back to the floor. Push into the left hand, raise the right hand up and out to the side to rotate. Bring your right hand back down to meet the left. Same on the other side. Breath in, left hand lifts, weight in the right hand. Breath out, we thread it through. In between the right hand, right knee, bringing that left ear to the mat. Push into that left forearm as you bring that right hand onto the lower spine. Keep pushing as much into that left forearm as you can to support the neck. Then reach that right hand up to the ceiling. Then if you wish to take it forward towards the front of the mat, to tap the fingertips onto the floor. And then reach back up again, using that mobility of the shoulder. Point the hand back up. Then bring that hand back to the lower spine. Bring it back then to the mat. Push into that right hand, lift up and out to the side. Chest pointing to the left. Bring that left hand down to meet the right. Take a little rock of the hips from side to side. Bring it central. Weight comes into your left knee. Point your right toes back and lift that leg up as high as you can. Turn the creases of the elbows. Bend into the elbows. Let the nose touch. Push back into the hands. Bring your right knee back to meet the left. Point your left toes back, then up towards the ceiling. Turn the creases of the elbows. Come down to a hover. Nose touches. Push into the hands. Lift back up. Left knee back to meet the right. So this time we're going into 3-leg down dog within that flow. Toes of the left foot tuck under. Right leg pushes back. Lift the heel as high as you can. Turn the creases of the elbows. Bend. Touch the nose. Lift back up. Push into the left toes. Lift the left knee. Find your 3-legged down dog. This time we're going to add on, bend into your right knee and turn the hips out to the right side of the mat, keeping the shoulders neutral to the front edge, and then make circles with that right knee in one direction, taking 2 circles in that way, and then take that circle the other way. 2 in that direction. Come back down onto your left knee. Bring your right knee back to meet the left. Untuck the left toes and tuck your right toes under. Lift that left leg back and up. Start to bend into the elbows to let the nose touch on the mat. Push into those hands and lift away. Push into your right foot, raise your right knee. Find that 3-legged down dog. Take that add-on, bend the left knee and turn the hips to the left side of the mat. Shoulders neutral. Then take circles with that left knee in one direction. Getting that mobility through those hips. Supporting ourselves into the mat with the hands and that right foot. Take that direction of the circle with that left knee the other way. And then point that left foot back up. Come down onto the right knee. Left knee meets the right. Untuck both toes. Take a little paddle of the feet. And then make your way back to a plank position, holding it in plank for a couple of breaths. If when you're in full plank it feels too strong, don't move the hands in the feet or change where the shoulders are seated. Just bring those knees down to take the pressure off the weight of the hands and the weight of the shoulders. Keep pushing those chests into that space between the shoulder blades. Draw the bellies back, squeeze the glutes, holding it here for another breath. And then lift those hips, squeeze those heels back. Walking the hands back towards the feet, bending the knees if you need to when the hands get closer to the legs, or keeping them straight if you wish and coming onto the fingertips. When you get back to the feet, allow that body to fold over the thighs. Let the head go, let the head hang. Easy breaths in this position. On your in-breath, come up to a half lift. On your out-breath, fold back over those legs. Root to rise, breath in, raise the hands all the way up to the ceiling, palms together at the top. On your out-breath, bring the hands to the chest. Weight comes into your left foot, reach up with the right knee, hold it in that standing balance. Push into those palms, engage the forearms, the biceps and the triceps. Then turn the right knee out and bring the ankle of the right foot onto the top of the left thigh. Take a bend into that left knee to find figure four, standing balance. Keep your focus in front of you. Don't let that mind chatter. Keep the focus also on that inhale and exhale, in and out through the nose, using that energetic body to turn off that mind of monkey chatter. That stability of that left foot to the floor, using that Muladhara chakra, stability and grounding. One more breath here. Then straighten up through that left leg, bring your right foot back to meet the left. Raise up with the arms, bring the hands together at the top. On your out breath, float yourself forward, bring yourself back into that folded position. On your in breath, come up to a half lift. On your out breath, fold back over those thighs. Next breath in, raise those hands, root to rise, lifting the hands up to the ceiling. Bring the hands to the chest, palms together. Weight comes into your right foot as you lift up with your left knee, bringing it up to hip high. Hold it there. Focus on something in front of you. Focus on the breath. Switch off the mind. Notice and be aware of that standing right foot and all those muscles that are twitching to hold you in the balance. Turn your left knee out, the outside of your left ankle onto the top of the right thigh, and take a bend into your right knee to find figure four, standing balance. Working through fluidity, balance, strength, openness, rotations, that union of yoga, everything that counts. One more breath here. Then root into that right foot as you straighten the right leg. Bring your left foot to meet the right. On your breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms together at the top. On your out breath, fold from the hips. Bring the hands down towards the floor and let the head hang. Take a breath in, come up to a half lift, hands on the shins. Then on your out breath, plant the hands back down, walk yourself back forward to a plank position. Shoulders over the heel of the hands, the squeeze of the glutes. Holding it here for a couple of breaths. Remember, you can drop the knees if you need to bring a little weight out of those shoulders. And then bring the knees down for everybody. Untuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows, and let that torso come all the way down to the floor. On your in-breath, push into the hands, lift up with the chest to your expression of back bend, whether that's high or lower, whatever works for you. Holding here for a couple of moments. And then release that chest back down. Tuck under with the toes. Bring those chests back towards those thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up with the hips to squeeze those heels back. Coming down onto the knees, into our tabletop position, untuck of both toes. Weight comes into your left knee, point your right toes back, lift that leg as high as you can, turn the creases of the elbows, bring the nose to touch the mat, push into those hands, lift the chest, right knee back to meet the left. Same on the left side, left leg lifts, point the toes back, turn the creases of the elbows, bring the nose to touch the floor. Push into those hands and lift up the chest, and bring that left knee back to meet the right. Take a rock of the hips from side to side. And taking the add-on to that, weight comes into your left knee, tuck your left toes under, point your right toes back, start to lower with the chest, touch the floor with the nose, push into the hands, then push into the left toes, lift the left knee, find your three-legged dog, bend your right knee, turn your hips out to the side, hold it there for a couple of moments, lifting the knee as high as you can, squeezing the right foot towards the left bum cheek, and then realign the hips. Bring your right foot to the outside of the right hand, and then sink that left knee to the floor, untuck the back toes, hold it in that low lizard position. Chest lifted, gaze lifted. Easy breaths in here, getting into those hip flexors, compression on the right side, length on the left side. One more breath here. Then heel toe the right feet back into the centre. Take it into straddle of half splits, right toes back to the shins, and lift nice and tall through the torso. Getting that back chain muscle stretch on that right leg, toes back towards that right shin. Back toes are untucked, tops of the foot of that left side flat. Then come back forward, get your left hand to ground, turn your left toe slightly off the mat, and step your right foot back, taking it into a side plank, right leg lifted, right hand lifted, holding for another breath. Then bring your right hand down, right knee down, find yourself back in that tabletop position to take that flow on the other side. So weight comes into your right knee, tuck your right toes under, point your left toes back, turn the creases of the elbows, lower to touch the nose to the floor, push into the hands, lift up the chest, push into your right foot and lift your right knee to find that down dog, three-legged. Bend your left knee, turn the hips to the left foot towards the right bum cheek, lifting the left knee as high as you can. And then realign the hips, bring your left foot to the outside of that left hand, drop your right knee down and sink the hips and tuck the back toes. Compression of the left hip, lengthening of the right hip flexor. Squeeze that bum to drop those hips a little lower. Then heel toe that left foot back into the centre and walk the hands back towards the right knee, taking it into that straddle, standing half split, Left toes back as much as you can towards the shin, tailbone lifted at the back. Then walk the hands back towards that left foot. Turn that right foot off the mat. Weight into your right hand, right knee. As you send that left foot back, finding the adjustment of that side plank, right knee down, left hand, left leg lifted. Push nice and strong into the floor. One more breath here. Then bring that left hand down, left knee down. Take a rock of the hips from side to side. Step both feet back into a plank position. Holding it in plank for a few breaths. Then lifting the hips to down dog. Walking the feet to the front of the mat, bending the knees if you need to, or keeping the legs straight and coming up onto your fingertips. When you get to the front, allow that body to forward fold over those thighs. Next breath in, half lift, hands to the shins. Next breath out, fold back over those legs. Then keeping the hands grounded, letting yourself come onto fingertips rather than palms. Put your weight into your left foot and let your right leg come back up to hip height, and just find that balance in our warrior 3 variation with the hands to the floor. If you're finding it comfortable here and you want to bring the hands away, bring the hands together at the chest and then lift the torso up to hip height. Holding it in warrior 3 if you've managed to get there. If you want to use blocks underneath the hands, feel free to do so. I never cued them, but you can just use the fingertips, books, whatever works for you. One more breath here. And then release the fingertips down. Bring your right foot to meet the left. Forward fold over those legs. Your next breath in, raise the hands all the way up to the ceiling. Palms come together at the top. Take a back bend if you wish. On your out breath, fold back forward over those legs. Fingertips to touch. Breath in comes up to a half lift. Come onto your fingertips, weight into your right foot as you send your left heel up to hip height. Find some comfortable space there. If you need to just elevate the hands a little onto blocks, feel free to do so. If you want to come into the balance and lift the hands away, bring the hands to the chest and lift the torso up so it's more at hip height. Holding it here for another breath. Feeling that stretch down that right back chain of muscles. Then release the hands down. Bring your left foot to meet the right. Allow that body to fold over the legs and let go of the head, nod and shake. Next breath in, raise those hands all the way back up to the ceiling, palms together at the top. On your out breath, fold back over, bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, half lift. Breath out, plant the hands and step back to plank. Holding it in plank just for a few breaths. Softness through the elbows, chest pushing back, squeeze of the bum, the belly. Push the heels away, crown forward. Lift the hips to down dog. Just take a moment in down dog. Then come down onto the knees and find yourself back in that tabletop position. Weight comes into your left knee as you send your right toes back. Lift the leg as high as you can. Bend the elbows, nose to touch the floor. Push into the hands and lift the chest away. Right knee back to meet the left. Weight into your right knee. Left leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Bend into the elbows, nose to touch the floor. Push into the hands and lift the chest. Left knee back to meet the right. Take a rock of the hips. And then we'll take a little flow through, similar at the start, adding on to the end. Weight comes into your left knee. Right leg lifts back out, tuck the left toes under. Start to lower the chest, touch the nose to the floor. Push into the hands, Push into your left toes, lift the left knee to find your three-legged downward facing dog. Bend your right knee, turn the hips to the right, align the shoulders to the front of the mat, then realign the hips, bring the knee of the right into the chest, keep the hips high, come onto the back toes and step your right foot through. Left hand stays down, right hand comes to the shoulder, turn your shoulders to the right, rotate the waist, pelvis stays neutral, and then lift that right hand up to the ceiling. Support through the floor. Lengthen expansion through the chest, reaching up as high as you can with that right hand as that left hand grounds. Then drop your left knee down, untuck the left toes, reach up with the left hand so it points forward, right hand points back. So we have that twisted low lunge, turning the torso to the right and the pelvis stays forward to the front edge of the mat. Bring your right hand to the lower part of the left leg and then lift that left hand up, reaching down with that right hand towards that left knee. Feeling that stretch along the left rib cage. One more breath here. Then windmill the hands down, either side of that right foot. Bring your right knee back to meet the left and take a rock of the hips from side to side. Same on that left side body. Tuck your right toes under. Weight comes into your right knee as your left leg lifts. Bend into the elbows, let the nose touch. Push into the hands, push into the right toes and lift the right knee. Bend your left knee, turn the hips to the left, pushing your left foot to the right. Realign the hips, bring that knee to the chest, keep the hips high. Come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your left foot through. Keep your right hand grounded, left hand comes to the left shoulder, turn and rotate the torso, and then reach up with that left hand. Rotation from the waist, pelvis neutral to the front. Easy breath, stacking that left shoulder as much as you can on top of the right. And then drop that right knee down and tuck those right toes. Lift the torso, the right hand forward, left hand back. Breathing into that space of the twist. Pushing into the feet for stability. Working that digestive system, that third chakra, the Manipura chakra. The colour is yellow. Fire in the belly. Then release the hands down, either side of that left foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Take a rock of the hips from side to side. And then step yourself back into a plank position. Hold it in plank. If you need to drop the knees, drop the knees. Then we're going to take it to a knee down wild thing. So drop your right knee to the floor. Turn your right toes just slightly off the mat. Bring your left toes back, slightly behind that right foot as you lift that left hand, sending it towards that right side of the mat, opening that chest as much as you can up to the ceiling to take that baby wild thing. And then bring that left hand down, come back to both knees. This time take your left foot off, take your right foot behind that left foot, lift up the chest, send the right arm back, trying to open the hips up, try to open the chest up. Bring your right hand back, come back into that tabletop position, step both feet back into a plank, and then lower yourself to the floor, whether you're dropping the knees or straight bodies. Coming all the way onto the belly And just let yourself settle on the floor. Bring your hands down by the sides. Bring your feet together. On your in-breath, lift up with the chin, the chest. Push the hands towards the feet and lift them away from the mat. And then lift the feet up also. So we're taking that bow position on the floor, strengthening those back chain of muscles, lengthening the front. Squeeze the shoulders in and down. Lift by squeezing the hamstrings and the glutes to lift those legs. One more breath here. Then release the feet back down. Bring the chest down. Bring the hands down by the sides. Tent the fingers. We'll do some oscillating cobras. Breath in, lift up with the chest. Breath out, release that chest back down. Breath in, lift. Breath out, release. Breath in, lift. Breath out, release. We're now going to take it into shoulder stretch. So breath in, lift. Breath out, drop your right shoulder down and gaze to the left. Breath in, lift. Breath out, left shoulder down, gaze to the right. Breath in, lift. Breath out, right shoulder down, gaze to the left. Breath in, lift. Breath, shoulder, left shoulder down, gaze to the right. Come back to centre. Hold it in centre. Raise your right foot, squeeze it towards the bum and release it back down. Raise your left foot, squeeze to the bum and release back down. Let the chest come back to the floor. Bring the hands to interlace at the bum. Push the palms together, squeeze the shoulder blades together and try and send those hands down towards the feet. On your in-breath, lift the chin, the chest. Maybe lift those hands away if you've got that space in the shoulders. Maybe you want to include the feet. Strengthen again through that back body. Feeling that support of the earth around the belly, the lower ribs, the upper thighs. Creating some space through that fourth chakra, the Anahata chakra, heart chakra, the colour green. Release the feet down, release the chest down. Bring the hands by the sides of the chest. Tuck under with the toes. Bring the chest back towards the thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back. Walk the hands back towards the front of the mat, either straight legs or bent legs. Seeing how close you can come to without the palms lifting. And then let the body fold over those legs. Breath in, raise those hands up. Bring the hands together at the top. Bring the hands to the chest. Come onto your tiptoes. Slowly release down your seat to the feet with control. All the way down till you get to that crouching position. And when you've found the crouch, grow tall. Easy breaths here. Then reach forward with the hands. Use those long limbs to slowly lower the bum to the floor, heels to the front, and find yourself in that seated position. Just to take ourselves into a little rotation first. Bend into your right knee, right foot over the left. Hook your left arm around your right knee and your right hand behind. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out and rotate. Using those breaths to find those range of movements, those micro changes. Feeling maybe the lengthening of that left side waist, particularly into the space of that left side back. Then bring those shoulders back to centre, straighten out that right leg, lift up with the arms and fold forward over those thighs. Take a breath in, take a breath out and fold. On your next in-breath, lift those shoulders, come back up to seated. This time bend into your left knee, left foot over the right thigh. Hook that right arm over that left knee. Bring your left hand behind, elongate, inhale, and rotate, exhale. Create the space and find the depth. One more breath here. Then come back through centre. Straighten out both legs. Breathe in, raise the arms. Breathe out, fold over those thighs, pivoting from the hips, bringing the hands to wherever they reach. Elongate. And fold. From this position, slowly curl up. And as you curl up, we're rolling down that back to bring ourselves all the way to the floor. And as you slowly lower down, bring one knee into the chest. So bring your right knee in, squeeze it into the torso, into that chest. Then take that right knee to that right armpit and squeeze it into that space. Bring that knee back to centre. Bring your left knee in to meet the right. And then straighten that right leg out, bringing the foot to the floor. Squeeze the left knee into the chest first. Then bring that left knee to the left armpit and squeeze. Bring that left knee to the centre. Bring your right knee in to meet the left. Bring your elbows to the inside of the knees, finding happy baby. Compression through the hips still. Soles of the feet pointing up. Knees are stacked underneath the heels of the feet. Shoulder blades plugging into the mat. Tailbone pushing down to the floor. Head relaxed, shoulders relaxed, face relaxed. Maybe take a little rock from side to side, just to use that core engagement for one more time. Then bring yourself back to centre. Release the feet long to the ends of the mat. If you need to just lift up through the sacrum, lift the bum away, tuck the tailbone under, lift the lower belly up and place the hips down on the floor. Maybe have a rock of those hips from side to side. Turn the palms up, let the shoulders relax. Take a turn of the head in one direction, back through centre and over to the other side. Back into the middle. And just take a few moments here to consolidate all that you've just done through your practice, working the physical, energetic, mental, the discernment and wisdom, the bliss. Working 7 chakras from stability, fluidity, fire in the belly, space in the heart, communication of the mind and body, the discernment and wisdom and the choices you've made through this practice, knowing they're right for your body. And now taking that moment of bliss, just to let the union and fusion of everything come together. to all parts of the body that are touching the mat, the clothes that are touching the skin, the sounds of the room inside and maybe outside, the taste on the tongue, the vision that's implanted on those eyelids, the smells of the room. Take a breath in, reach those hands up and over the head. Reaching nice and far with the fingertips to the back of the mat, the toe tips to the front of the mat, lifting the rib cage to the ceiling, lifting the lower back away from the floor, stretching, maybe yawning in this space. And then bringing those hands back up and over, bringing the knees in towards your chest, maybe having a rock of that body from side to side, massaging that spine, thanking it for practice. Then rolling over onto one side, make a pillow with the hands. Take a couple of deep breaths here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Then when you're ready, slowly making your way up into a seated position, pushing with that top hand to help you up. Finding the rooting through the sit bones, the cross of the legs, the hands on top of the thighs, the eyes still gently closed, and just take a moment to breathe in this space. Finding that gratitude for how your body's moved, appreciating that discipline of stepping onto the mat. Next breath in, raise those hands up to the ceiling, palms together at the top. On your out breath, bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Breathe in wisdom and peace. Breathe out love and joy. Namaste.